In the evenings, she started going out with her girlfriends more frequently, enjoying the freedom and excitement that came with each outing. The late-night conversations and laughter filled the void she had long felt. Then one day, she chose to wear the dress that would change everything, a dress so striking it seemed to hold the power of fate. Little did she know, that night would set off a series of events she could never have predicted. The night was shrouded in darkness that seemed to thicken the air. A heavy, opaque shroud surrounded my thoughts. I looked out the window, waiting for Lauren to return. This had become a ritual of sorts. My vigil in the living room, watching the clock's hands move through the hours and listening for the sound of her keys in the door. My fingers drummed against the couch's leather armrest, keeping a steady, nervous beat that matched the racing of my heart. Lauren had recently been going out more frequently, with one night blending into the next. It began as an occasional evening with her girlfriends, but it soon became apparent that every night held an excuse, a girls' night out or reconnecting with old friends, and every time she left. Her smile was too bright, and her voice was too enthusiastic. I saw it in her eyes. Something seemed off. Something that turned my stomach with a sickening sense of dread. I had always trusted Lauren. Our marriage had been solid. At least I assumed it had been. But the late-night outings, the sudden, unexplained absences, all contributed to a growing suspicion. Then there was the dress. That was a fatal dress. This is the one she wore tonight. I remember the first time I saw Lauren wearing that dress. It happened at a friend's wedding. She'd walked into the room. Her presence was like a sudden burst of light. The fabric hugged her curves. Her dark hair cascaded over her shoulders in loose waves, and her skin glowed a deep crimson. I was captivated and snagged. That was the night I fell in love with her. Now, as I watched her twirl in front of the mirror earlier this evening, adjusting the straps and applying her lipstick with deliberate precision, I felt a chill in my chest. It was no longer just a dress, it was a weapon. She used a tool to deceive me. My mind replayed the scene, Lauren looking at her reflection, a satisfied smile playing on the corners of her mouth. Then her gaze shifted to mine in the mirror. That smile faltered for a brief moment before she announced, "I'm going out with the girls. Do not wait." I nodded, swallowing the bitterness that threatened to overflow. My voice conveyed none of the turmoil within. "Have fun," I said with a forced smile. She turned and kissed me lightly on the cheek, an act that felt more obligatory than affectionate before leaving. The sound of the door clicking shut was like the final nail in the coffin of my doubts. I stood there for a moment, staring at the empty hallway, feeling my resolve harden inside. Tonight, I would follow her. Tonight, I would learn the truth. I grabbed my keys from the table and slipped out into the night, keeping a safe distance. I followed her car. The city streets faded into a haze of neon lights and dark shadows. My mind was racing faster than the vehicle I was following. My heart pounded against my ribcage, a drumbeat of rage and fear. Where was she going? Who did she meet? The questions echoed in my mind. Each one was a blow to the walls of my sanity. Lauren's car eventually pulled into the parking lot of a swanky restaurant, the type we used to frequent on special occasions. I parked across the street, far enough away to avoid being seen but close enough to keep an eye on her every move. My hands clenched the steering wheel as I saw her get out of the car and smooth down that damn dress. She checks her reflection in the side mirror before going inside. I waited a few minutes for my pulse to settle before slipping out of my car. The restaurant interior was dimly lit. As I walked in, the soft hum of conversation and the clinking of glasses obscured my footsteps. I stayed in the back, scanning the room for Lauren. It did not take long to locate her. She was seated at a table near the corner with her back to me, but it wasn't her girlfriend sitting across from her. It was a man, an elegant gentleman, all clean lines and confidence. His hand is casually resting on the table, dangerously close to hers. I watched him lean forward and say something that made her laugh, a light, melodic sound that once filled our home with happiness. It felt like a knife twisting in my gut. Then it happened. He rose, moved closer, and kissed her on the lips. A simple, intimate gesture that communicated volumes. My blood ran cold, and my mind struggled to comprehend what my eyes had just seen. There it was, confirmation of my worst fears. Lauren was seriously cheating on me. I wanted to march over there, grab him by the collar, demand answers, and scream in rage, do whatever it takes to calm the storm that's brewing inside me. But I did not. Instead, I turned and walked away. My movements are mechanical, and my face is numb. The cool night air struck me like a slap, but it did nothing to dispel the cloud of rage that was obscuring my thoughts. I sat back in my car and stared at the restaurant, the glow of its sign mocking me. This was my life, now. My wife, the woman I loved, was inside with another man. She'd chosen him over me. I felt a mix of heartbreak and rising fury. My thoughts became dark, the need for vengeance, burning hotter than the pain. I started the engine. My knuckles turned white from gripping the steering wheel so tightly. I'd make her pay for this betrayal. I'd ruin her fate, just like she had ruined mine. Divorce was the first step, but it would not be the final. I had been a fool for trusting her. But the game had changed. I was no longer the clueless husband. I was in control, and I'd make sure she knew it. As I drove away, the restaurant faded into the distance, and the city lights blurred past. My heart was a solid stone in my chest. My mind was set on making Lauren regret the day she thought she could deceive me. Morning light shines through the blinds, cutting across my face, forcing me to awaken from the restless sleep that had claimed me when I finally arrived home. My mind is still clouded by images of Lauren and that man sharing an intimate moment at the restaurant. I can't shake the memory. It's like a poison seeping into my veins and dulling my senses. I roll out of bed, the cold hardwood floor biting into my bare feet. Lauren is already awake. I can hear the clatter of dishes and the hum of the kettle in the kitchen. I took a deep breath. I'm preparing myself for the encounter. I need to act normally, as if everything is fine. If she detects anything, it could devastate everything. I walk down the hallway. My hand brushes against the wall for support as I enter the kitchen. I see her standing by the stove with her back to me. Her long hair cascaded over her shoulders. She hums softly to herself, an old song we used to listen to together. The sound causes a pang in my chest, but I quickly bury it. I need to remain focused. "Morning," I say, trying to keep my voice light. Lauren smiles, playing with her lips. "Good morning, sleepyhead," she responds. "I was going to make coffee. Want some?" "Sure." I nod, admiring her graceful movements, which used to captivate me. It only makes me suspicious. "Did you have any fun last night?" She takes the shortest possible pause, so brief that I would have missed it if I hadn't been looking. "Yeah, it was great," she says with a smooth voice. "Just a few drinks and laughs with the girls. You understand how it is." I nod, trying to keep my expression neutral. "I am glad you had fun." She hands me a mug of coffee, her fingers brushing against mine for a moment. The contact sends a jolt through me, but my expression remains steady. "Any plans for today?" she asks, sipping her own coffee. Her eyes followed me over the mug's rim. "Just work," I say, shrugging. "And you?" "Not much. I might go shopping and meet up with Rachel later," she says, turning away to return the kettle. The mention of Rachel's name causes my jaw to clench. Rachel is one of her closest friends and the ideal alibi. I wonder if Rachel is even aware of what Lauren is up to. "That sounds good," I respond, my voice calm. But my thoughts are racing. I need to get out of here, away from her, before I say something inappropriate. I grab my coat and keys, telling Lauren that I need to arrive at the office early. She waves me off with a smile. As I return my attention to her breakfast and step outside, the crisp air hits my face, clearing my mind. I walk down the street, the sound of my shoes rubbing against the pavement. The only noise. I need a plan. I can't confront her yet. Not until I learn more. The day drags on, with each minute stretching into eternity. The numbers and figures on my computer screen are making it difficult for me to concentrate on my work. All I can think about are Lauren and that man. Who is he? How long has it been going on? I need answers. By lunchtime, I cannot take it any longer. I grab my phone and dial the number of the only person I know who can help me. Ryan. We've been friends since college, and if there's anyone I can count on, it's him. Hello, man. Ryan's voice comes through the line, as cheerful as ever. What up? I need to talk to you, I say, keeping my voice quiet. Can you meet me at the corner cafe in 30 minutes? Sure. Is everything okay? He inquires, his tone indicating concern. Please meet me there, I say before hanging up. When I arrive, the cafe is quiet, with the lunchtime rush still in its early stages. I sit in the back, away from prying eyes. Ryan arrives a few minutes later, his tall frame and easy smile bringing some order to the chaos in my mind. He sits across from me, his expression serious as he notices the look on my face. What's happening? He asks, leaning forward. I take a deep breath, my fingers nervously tapping against the table. It's Lauren, I say finally. I believe she's cheating on me. Ryan's eyes widened with surprise. What? Lauren, are you certain? I followed her last night. I admit that the words taste bitter in my mouth. She claimed she was going out with friends, but she met a man at a restaurant. I saw them kissing. Ryan whistled softly. He leaned back in his chair. Damn, I didn't see that coming. Are you certain it wasn't just a friend? No, I respond, shaking my head. It wasn't simply a friendly kiss. There's something going on, and I need to figure out what. Ryan nods, his expression serious. Okay, what do you need me to do? I need you to help me figure out who he is. I speak in my own voice. Phone. I need to know everything. Where he works, where he lives, and what his relationship to Lauren is. Can you do that? Ryan nods. His eyes narrowed in determination. Consider it finished. I'll start digging around and see what I can find. But what are you planning to do? I stare out the window, my thoughts racing through 1,000 possibilities. I do not know yet. I admit, but I am not going to let this go. I am going to make her pay for what she has done. She believes she can get away with it, but she has no idea what is coming. Ryan nods. His jaw was set. All right, man. I am with you. We will get to the bottom of this. As we part ways, we wrap up our conversation by outlining a strategy for discovering the truth. I feel a sense of resolve wash over me. This is no longer just about Lauren's betrayal. It is about regaining control and making her understand the pain she has caused. I know things are going to get messy, and there will be consequences. But as I walk back to my car, all I can feel is cold, hard determination. Lauren believes she can play games with my heart and life. She has no idea what she has unleashed. The game has begun, and I am determined to win. The following days are a blur of routine, each indistinguishable from the last. I go to work, exchange pleasantries with my coworkers, and come home to a wife I can't look at without feeling angry. But beneath the surface, the tension coils are tighter. I maintain my distance from Lauren, pretending to be preoccupied with work projects and late-night meetings. She appears relieved by my absence, which only fuels the fire within me. If she notices my lack of affection or distant stares, she doesn't show it. Ryan calls late Thursday night, just as I'm finishing up at the office. I grab my phone, my chest tightening with anticipation. He has found something. I can feel it. Ryan says, "Hey, I have some news. Meet me at our usual spot in 30 minutes. Be right there," I respond, my voice taut with a mixture of dread and excitement. The usual location is an old bar tucked away in a downtown corner, dimly lit with a jukebox that hasn't worked in years, and a bartender who has seen his fair share of broken hearts. I push through the door. The odor of stale beer and cigarette smoke washed over me. Ryan is already there, sitting in a booth at the back with a beer in front of him. I slide into the seat across from him, my gaze searching his features for answers. He does not waste time. The guy's name is Jason Miller, he says, moving a folder across the table. He works for that big law firm on 5th, the one with the most high-profile cases. He's single, no children. He lives in an uptown condo and has been seen with Lauren on multiple occasions. One night, I flip open the folder and scan the contents. There are photographs of Jason, who is tall and well-dressed. His arm around Lauren in various locations, including a cafe, a park, and even outside a hotel. My heart sinks as the reality of their relationship becomes clear. This isn't just a fling. It's been going on for a while. "Where did you get this?" I ask, my voice barely audible. My friend is a private investigator, Ryan says, taking a swig from his beer. He did some digging and followed Lauren a few times. Apparently, this has been going on for several months. They meet at least twice a week, usually during the day and sometimes at night. The word struck me like a sledgehammer. Months. She has been lying to me for months, living a double life. My hands shake as I close the folder, attempting to control my breathing. Nobody else knows. None of her friends. Not that we can tell. Ryan speculates that Rachel may be aware of something, but she has yet to reveal it. She is a wild card. I nod, my thoughts racing. If Rachel is aware, she has been lying to me in order to cover for Lauren. I clenched my teeth, my anger rising. How could all of them betray me like this? What are you planning to do? Ryan asks. His eyes darkened with concern. I take a deep breath and try to collect my thoughts. I am going to confront her. I say finally, the decision weighing on me like a weight, but not yet. I hope to catch her in the act. I want her to be unable to lie her way out of this. Ryan nods with understanding in his eyes. I can have my friend follow them again and get more proof. Perhaps catch them entering the hotel. That is exactly what I need. I express my voice and heart, something she cannot deny, something that will force her to accept responsibility for her actions. Ryan raises his glass with a grim smile on his face. To the truth, he says, and I clink my glass with his. The sound echoed in the small space, and the days passed, each one heavier with the secret I carried. I keep a close eye on Lauren, looking for signs of guilt or remorse. But she is a master of deception. She smiles and laughs. She plays the part of the loving wife admirably. The only difference is that I now realize it was all a lie. Finally, Ryan calls with the information I've been waiting for. They're meeting at the hotel tonight, he says quietly. He will be there with a camera. We will have everything we need. I hang up the phone, my hands trembling. This is it. Tonight I'll have proof. I will be able to confront Lauren and expose her lies. I tell Lauren I'm working late, and she barely looks up from her phone to acknowledge me. I watch her out of the corner of my eye, leaving my heart pounding in my chest. Does she know what's coming? Does she care? I drove to the hotel. My mind is racing with ideas of what I'll do and say. I park a block away and move into the shadows as I approach the building. Ryan's friend Tony has already arrived, a camera slung around his neck. He nods at me, his expression impassive. They're in room 214, he says, handing me a collection of photographs. I just entered about 10 minutes ago. I look at the photographs. My heart is turning to stone. Lauren is there, looking radiant in the same red dress she was wearing the night I followed her. Jason is at her side. His hand rests on the small of her back as they enter the hotel. My blood boils. The urge to storm in and confront them was almost overwhelming. Let's go. I speak, my voice flapping. Tony nods as we make our way into the hotel, taking the stairs to the second floor. My heart is pounding in my ears as we approach the door to room 214. I raise my hand to knock and pause, my fist trembling. What if I am wrong? What if there was an explanation? But I know there isn't. I know exactly what I saw. I know what is in those photos. I pound on the door, and the sound echoes down the empty hallway. There is a moment of silence. Then the door opens. Lauren stands there, her eyes wide and shocked. Her face was pale. Mark, she says, her voice barely audible. What are you doing here? I push past her into the room, my gaze fixed on Jason, who is standing by the bed, looking just as stunned. Do you think I am an idiot? I yell, my voice shaking with rage. Do you think I won't find out? Lauren's eyes were filled with tears. Her hands trembled. Mark, please allow me to explain, she pleaded. No, I say with a cold voice. You've had enough talking. It is my turn now. I turn to Tony, who is already taking photos and capturing every moment. Send them to me. I say that I want her to see what she has done. I want everybody to see. Lauren's face crumples and she falls to the floor, sobbing. Jason moves forward, attempting to say something, but I cut him off with a glare. Stay out of this, I warn. This is between myself and my wife. I return to Lauren, my voice lowering to a menacing whisper. You've made your decision now. You will face the consequences. I storm out of the room, leaving Lauren and Jason behind. Their voices are calling for me. But I do not stop. I do not look back. The door slams shut behind me and I walk away. My mind is already racing to the next step. Lauren believed she could deceive me, that she could live 2 lives without consequences. But she was mistaken. The game is over and I intend to win. I sit alone in the dark living room, the house's silence weighing heavily on me. The clock on the wall ticks loudly, with each second stretching into eternity. Lauren's sobs from the hotel room continue to echo in my mind, as do her desperate pleas. My heart is a stone, heavy with rage and betrayal. I understand what I need to do. I need to end this once and for all. Lauren has not arrived home yet. She's probably still with Jason, trying to figure out how to fix her lie, how to create another web to trap me. However, there is no way out this time. The evidence is irrefutable. I have the photographs, proof of her infidelity. I have a hotel manager's statement confirming they have been meeting there for months. I even managed to obtain copies of their text messages. Thank you. Ryan's friend Tony. Every sickening word spoken between them is now exposed, every lie and every betrayal. The door creaks open and Lauren enters. Her face was pale and drawn. She looks at me. Her eyes were red and swollen from crying. For a moment, we just stared at each other. The air between us is thick with tension. "Mark," she says, her voice trembling. "Please allow me to explain." "There is nothing to explain." I cut her off, my voice cold. I stand up and hold the folder in my hand. "Everything is fine here, Lauren. Everything. Your affair. You tell lies. It is over." She flinches, her gaze dropping to the ground. "I apologize," she whispers. "I never intended to hurt you. You just what?" I yell, tossing the folder onto the coffee table, its contents spilling out. "You just wanted to have some fun. You just wanted to see what you could get away with. Is this it?" "No," she cries, her voice breaking. "It was not like that. Mark, I felt lonely. You were constantly working, always distracted. I felt invisible. The word struck me like a slap, but I do not let it show. So you chose to cheat. Is that your solution for loneliness? It was not supposed to be like this," she says, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Jason was he was present. He made me feel alive again. I knew it was wrong, but I couldn't stop." I laughed bitterly. The sound is harsh and cold. "You could not stop. You could have stopped at any time, Lauren, but you didn't. You chose him repeatedly." She takes a step toward me and reaches out. "Mark, please, this is something we can fix. We can seek counseling, try to work through it. I still love you." I move back out of her reach. "Don't." I raise my voice harshly. "Do not say you love me. If you truly loved me, you would not have done this." Her face crumples, and she falls to the couch, sobbing. I observe her for a moment. I feel nothing but cold satisfaction. This is what she deserved. She made her choice, and now she must live with it. "I'm filing for divorce," I say with a steady voice. "I've already spoken with a lawyer. You will receive the papers in the morning. I need you out of the house by the end of the week." Lauren looks up, her eyes wide and panicked. "Mark, no, please do not do this. I will do anything. Please don't leave me." I shook my head. "It is too late for that, Lauren. You made your decision, and now I am making mine. This marriage is over." I turned to leave, but her voice interrupted me. "There's something you don't know," she says, her voice trembling. "Something I've never told you." I rest my hand on the doorknob. "What is it?" I inquire, my voice flat. She takes a deep breath, her eyes widening with a new type of fear. "It's about Jason," she claims. "He isn't who you think he is." I return to her, my eyes narrowing. "What do you mean? He's more than just a guy I met." She speaks, her voice shaking. He approached me several months ago. He knew certain things about us and our lives. He stated that he was a private investigator hired to look into you. He told me things that made me question every aspect of our marriage. He led me to believe you were the one hiding something. My heart starts to pound. "What exactly are you talking about?" Lauren's voice is a whisper. "Now, he showed me photographs and documents. He claimed you were having an affair, that you intended to leave me. He claimed you had a secret bank account and were moving money out of our accounts. I looked at her, my mind reeling. That is a lie, I say, my voice shaking. I never did any of that. I know that now. She sobs, but he is extremely convincing. He had all of the proof and details. I was scared, Mark. I wasn't sure what to believe. And he was there to comfort me, telling me everything would be fine. I had no idea he was manipulating me. A cold realization comes over me. Jason set this up. I speak slowly. He instilled those ideas in your mind, knowing they would drive you into his arms. Lauren nods. Tears were streaming down her face. I hadn't realized it until today, until you confronted us in the hotel after I saw the photos. The expression in your eyes. I knew Jason had lied to me. I have been such a fool. I take a step back as my mind races. This changes everything. Jason was not just any random guy. He had orchestrated this. They played us both. But why? What was his endgame? My phone rang, breaking the silence. I glance at the screen. It's Ryan. Mark, you should get out of there. Ryan's voice speaks urgently when I answer. Tony found out something. Jason is not who he claims he is. He's not an attorney or a private investigator. He's a con artist and a scammer. He's been targeting couples like you, manipulating and blackmailing them. He is dangerous. Mark, you need to leave right now. I feel blood draining from my face. What does he want? I inquire, my tone barely above a whisper. Ryan claims that he finds couples with financial assets, drives a wedge between them, and then demands payment to keep quiet. Tony discovered that he had done this several times before. He's a professional. I hung up. My mind is spinning. Lauren looks at me with wide, terrified eyes. We need to leave. I say Jason is not who you think he is. He is dangerous. We need to leave now. Before she can respond, there is a knock at the door. I freeze, my heart racing in my chest. Lauren looks to the door, then back to me. Fear was etched on her face. It's him, right? She whispers. I nod. My mind raced. Stay here, I say, moving towards the door. Do not say anything. I open the door slightly, just enough to spot Jason standing there. His expression was calm, almost friendly. Mark, he says calmly. Can we speak? What do you want? I demand, leaving the door partially closed. Jason maintains a constant smile. I believe you know. Let us not make this difficult. We can handle this quietly. There is no need for anyone else to get hurt. Lauren emerges behind me, her voice trembling. Jason, why are you doing this? Jason's eyes shifted to her, and his smile widened. Lauren, the ever-trusting wife, do not act surprised. You were aware that this was a transaction, nothing more. I pushed open the door. Anger was boiling up inside me. You used us, I say with a low voice. You manipulated Lauren and set the whole thing up. Why? Jason's smile fades and his eyes grow cold. Because this is what I do, and people like you make it so simple. Here's how this will go. You will transfer $50,000 to my account by tomorrow morning, or I ensure that your minor incident makes it to the front page. Consider the scandal, the embarrassment. Is it worthwhile? I stare at him, my thoughts racing. Everything is just a game to him, but not anymore. No deal. I say, stepping back. Get out of my home. Jason's eyes narrowed. You are making a mistake. I shook my head. The only mistake was believing you. I slammed the door in his face and turned the lock. Lauren stares at me, her eyes wide with fear. What are we planning to do? She whispers. I take a deep breath, the anger fading to a cold resolve. We are going to fight back, I say. We won't let him win. But even as I say these words, I know the damage has already been done. Our trust is shattered. The wounds were too deep to heal. As I look at Lauren, I realize that even if we manage to escape Jason's trap, we will never be free of the shadow of this betrayal. Lauren looks at me, her eyes full of regret. I'm very sorry, Mark, she whispers. I never intended for any of this to happen. I nod. My heart aches from the weight of her words. I understand. I speak softly. But it did. We stood there in silence. The reality of our situation is sinking in. We may have been duped by a skilled con artist, but in the end, The decisions we made were our own, and those decisions have torn us apart. As I walk away, I realize it is the end, not just of our marriage, but of everything we once had. The love, the trust, and the hopes for a future together are all gone, replaced by lies and deception. We part with a whimper rather than a bang. Two people forever changed by the cruelty of a man who knew how to exploit our flaws. Two people will never see each other again. They are only united by their hatred for betrayal. The house that was once our home is now only a place for memories. I close the door behind me, leaving the past behind. Stepping into the future is as uncertain as the night itself.